Greetings. I'm Nate, 25, residing with my mother in a modest cottage just beyond town. It's nothing fancy. I sleep in the small back room, once a guest room. Sure, it's not exactly thriving, but I'm not embarrassed either. College was never for me. School just wasn't my thing. I take jobs wherever I can, mostly at construction sites. Some gigs, like roofing or moving people's stuff, pay cash. No benefits, no strings, just enough to keep going. Some say I'm squandering my life. Maybe, but for now I value simplicity. No schedules, no one hovering over me. I live day to day, and mostly I'm okay with that. My mother, though, isn't. Lately she's been nagging me about planning my future, settling down, finding a wife and starting a family. Grandkids are her biggest wish. She tells me to grow up, to stop treating life like a vacation. We argue sometimes, but I try not to push back too hard. I know she means well, yet hearing the same lecture every other day wears me down. About a year ago, my mother met a new friend, Elise, not one of her old pals from way back. They connected at a community event and clicked. Since then, Elise has been over for coffee several times a week. She's nearly a decade younger than my mum, so if my mother's 50, Elise is likely 35. She looks fantastic for her age, really great. At first I barely noticed her. Yes, she's elegant, confident, lovely, always dressed impeccably. But she was just my mother's friend. Whenever she visited, I'd hear them in the kitchen, my mother griping about me. He has no plan, doesn't care about his future. Elise would agree, saying, he's a good kid, but he needs guidance. He can't live like this forever. Blah, blah, blah. I'd roll my eyes, pop on my headphones and tune them out. But tonight was different. I was lounging in bed, scrolling through my phone, passing time. My warehouse shift ended early, and I had no plans. The house was quiet. Mum was asleep, lights off, only the ceiling fans hum in the air. Then my phone buzzed. A message from someone I'd never texted before. Elise. My first thought was, why is she messaging me? Maybe something about Mom? Something serious? I opened it. It was a photo. Not overtly explicit, but intentional. She stood before a mirror, hair slightly messy, in a silky robe that clung to her curves. Her gaze at the camera wasn't playful or silly. It was intimate, deliberate. The energy hit me hard, tightening my chest for a moment. The caption read, "This is between us." I froze, unsure what to think. Was this a mistake? Was it meant for someone else? I stared at the image, locked my phone, then unlocked it again. Still there. Same photo, same Elise, same caption. I wasn't angry or uncomfortable. Honestly, I was intrigued. Elise wasn't a stranger. I knew her. She'd sat across from me in our kitchen, laughed at my jokes, complimented my tattoos. I'd caught her glancing at me a couple of times when she thought I wasn't notice. So, I typed back, "Did you intend to send this to me?" Her reply came instantly. "Yes, and I'm not sorry." I leaned back, staring at the ceiling, heart racing. Not from fear, but adrenaline. This was something, though I wasn't know what. I wanted to find out. I texted again. "I won't say if you don't." Typing dots appeared, then another photo, bolder than the last, then another. Still tasteful, but clearly for me. I didn't sleep that night much. Not from overthinking. I'm not the type to overthink. But because the rules had changed. Something had shifted. A line had been crossed, and I didn't know what morning would bring. One thing was clear. Elise wasn't just my mother's friend anymore. The next morning was uneasy, not because anything had happened, but because of what might happen now. I woke feeling like I'd stepped through an invisible doorway. Nothing around me had changed, yet everything had. I tried acting normal, threw on an old t-shirt, made toast, drank coffee straight from the mug as usual. Mum was up, scrolling her phone at the table, grumbling about the neighbour's dog barking again. She didn't mention Elise or say she was coming over. I didn't ask. But around 11 o'clock a.m., the doorbell rang.
And there was Elise. She strolled in like nothing was different, as if she hadn't sent those photos last night. She wore tight trousers, a cream-coloured loose sweater, minimal makeup, just enough to look natural. She kissed my mother's cheek, handed her a box of pastries, and settled into the kitchen like she'd always belonged there. I was on the couch, pretending to browse job listings on my phone, when she glanced at me. Our eyes met, not a polite smile or friendly nod, but a look. Her gaze was sharp yet gentle, her head tilting slightly, one corner of her mouth lifting. It lasted 2 seconds, but said everything. I nodded once, just enough to show I saw it. They chatted in the kitchen for nearly 30 minutes, the usual. Mum ranting about me wasting my 20s, drifting through life without a plan.
Elise nodded at the right moments, added a few hums, even said, "He's a good kid though," like always. The script hadn't changed, but it felt like a performance now, like we were both in on something Mum didn't know. Then Mum's phone rang. She glanced at the screen, groaned. "It's the pharmacy," she said, standing. "They messed up my prescription again." She grabbed her keys. 5 minutes tops, don't let the coffee burn." She was out the door before I could respond. Now it was just Elise and me. The kitchen went quiet. I stood, walked in slowly. She leaned against the counter, arms folded, sipping coffee like it was any Saturday. Breaking the silence, I asked, "What was last night about?" She looked at me calmly, no guilt in her eyes. "What do you think it was about?" "I don't know," I shrugged. "You tell me. Was it a mistake?" "No," she said. No hesitation, no shame. "You're my mother's friend," I pointed out. "You come here all the time, listen to her say I'm wasting my life." Elise glanced down briefly, then met my gaze again. "Do you think I believe all that?" I just looked at her, silent. She stepped closer. "Nate, I tell her what she wants to hear. That's what friends do sometimes, especially to avoid arguments. But I see you. You're not lazy. You're free. That scares people." I blinked, genuinely unsure what to say. Finally I said, "You sent me photos?" "Yes, and I don't regret it." "Why me?" She smiled, a sad, vulnerable smile that made her look younger. "Because you see me as a person, not someone who missed her shot at a perfect life. You make me feel visible, alive." I couldn't lie. That stirred something in me. A long pause hung between us. Neither moved. Then I asked, "What now?" She glanced around, like checking the coast was clear, then leaned in, her voice a whisper. "Meet me tonight. Niall, walk with me. Where? It doesn't matter." I nodded. Before Mum returned, Elise was already pulling out of the driveway, waving and smiling like nothing had happened. Mum came back minutes later, still muttering about the pharmacist, completely oblivious. But I couldn't stop thinking about Elise. All day my mind raced in 100 directions. I kept checking the clock, counting hours. Part of me still couldn't believe someone her age, confident, beautiful, would want to spend time with me. But she did. 9 o'clock couldn't come fast enough. At 8:56 p.m., I stood before the hallway mirror, acting like I didn't care about my appearance. I swapped shirts 3 times, settled on a plain black one, fitted but not try-hard. I threw on a jacket, ran a hand through my hair, and left without telling Mum where I was going. She was watching a cooking show in the living room, barely glancing up. It was an early spring night, cool enough to see your breath if you stood still. The air smelled of fresh pavement and distant firewood. I reached the corner of our street and waited. Elise pulled up right on time in her black SUV. The passenger window rolled down and she leaned toward me, grinning. "Get in." No makeup, just her. Hair tied back, grey hoodie, black leggings, sneakers. Real, relaxed. We didn't speak for the first few minutes. She drove, no music, just the soft hum of tires. We ended up in a quieter, prettier neighborhood across town. Old trees, empty sidewalks. She parked near a small park, turned off the engine and looked at me. "Walk with me?" I nodded. We walked side by side, not touching, just moving. It felt calm, easy. We both needed it, I think. Eventually, I said, "Do you do this kind of thing often?" She smiled. "What, pick up guys half my age for night walks?" "Yeah, that's it." "No," she said. "This is new, very new." We kept walking, steps in sync. "I didn't plan this," she said. "I wasn't sitting there plotting to text you like that. It just happened. I saw how you handle people, even your mom when she's tough on you, and I thought, he gets it. He's not pretending like most men I know. He's just himself." I murmured. Being myself doesn't exactly pay the bills. "Maybe not," she said, "but it's rare, honest." I glanced at her. "You're not what I expected either." "How so?" "I don't know. I thought you were just another friend Mom chats with. Baking tips, neighborhood gossip, complaints about me. But now I see someone looking for something like me." She stopped, turned to face me, her voice softer. "You're right," she went on. "I spent my 20s chasing the right guy, job, plan. Now I'm 35, alone. No kids, no real love, just routines, coffee dates, empty conversations. But with you, I feel something different." We resumed walking. Park lights cast a warm orange glow on the path. A slight breeze picked up, but I didn't feel cold. After a bit, I admitted, "I don't have answers. I'm not looking for someone to fix me. I don't always know what I want." "I'm not here to fix you, Nate," she said. "I just want to know the real you. No pressure, no roles." That's when I realized we were two people with different lives, expectations, stories. But that night, we'd landed on the same path, craving something real. We sat on a bench under a street lamp. It was quiet, comfortable. I said, "I feel like I've known you longer than I have." She turned to me. "That's because you see me, not the person I pretend to be." A pause. A stillness settled between us. Then she asked, "Do you want to keep talking somewhere more private?" I didn't hesitate. We stood, walked back to her car. The drive to the motel was quiet, not awkward, but filled with unspoken things, mutual respect, maybe hope. She parked behind a small business with a neon vacancy sign, turned off the engine, but didn't move. "I'm not here for a fling, Nate," she said softly, not looking at me. "I want something meaningful, even if it's messy or doesn't make sense." "I'm not here to use you," I said. "This means something to me too." She took my hand, and we walked inside together. What happened that night stays between us. I won't tell, and neither will she, not out of shame, but because some moments don't need sharing. Let me say this. That night changed everything. The next morning was quiet, the kind of silence that feels full, like the world's holding its breath. Elise was still asleep when I woke. Sunlight slipped through thin hotel curtains, warming her shoulder softly. She looked peaceful. No makeup, no filters, no pretense, just her. I dressed quietly, sat on the bed's edge for a while, just being. I wasn't overthinking. That's not me. But I felt different, like something inside had settled or shifted. She stirred, opened her eyes, smiled. No awkwardness, no regrets. "Hey," she murmured, voice groggy. "Hey," I replied. She sat up, wrapped the blanket around her, leaned against the pillows. "How you feeling?" I thought for a second, like something real just started. She nodded. "That's exactly how I feel." We didn't talk much after that. We dressed, grabbed gas station coffee on the way back, drove in calm silence. No big speeches, no what now talks, just an understanding. Something had begun between us, not just physical, but like a door had opened neither of us expected. Back home, things looked normal, at least on the surface.
2 days later, Elise came over for coffee like nothing had happened. Mum had no clue. Elise and I barely exchanged glances, but they held more than whole conversations. After she left, I got a text. Still thinking about that night. I replied, every minute. That became our rhythm. Secret texts, late-night calls, stolen moments between coffee visits and errands. We weren't hiding from shame, but from necessity. Mum trusted Elise, liked her, saw her as a friend. If she knew the truth, it'd break her. But what we had was undeniable. Not just attraction, but connection. Real connection. I started seeing Elise differently. Not just as Mum's friend or a beautiful woman, but as someone with depth, vulnerabilities, fears, hopes that echoed mine. I noticed she'd check her phone twice before speaking, like she feared saying the wrong thing. I saw how she stayed quiet when Mum complained about me, but her eyes told a different story. One night, we sat in her car outside a grocery store, engine still running. I'm not good at this, she admitted softly. At what? Sneaking around? Lying by omission? Pretending? I know, I said. I hate it too. She looked at me, eyes tired. Nate, I care about you more than I expected, and I'm tired of hiding. I nodded. Then let's stop hiding. She paused. Yeah, you want to tell her? I do, I said. We're not doing anything wrong. We're two adults who met in a weird way. That doesn't make us bad people. She looked at her hands. She'll hate me. Maybe at first, I said. But truth has weight. It floats for a while, but eventually it lands. We sat in silence for a long time. Then she said it, something we both needed to hear. I love you. I didn't need to think. I love you too. That night I didn't sleep, not from fear, but from running through every scenario. How to say it, when, how Mom would react. We decided it had to happen soon. So we picked Saturday. Elise would come over for coffee as usual, but this time we'd sit down and tell the truth, not for drama or shock, but for us. Hiding something real starts to feel like lying to yourself and the world. That Saturday morning felt like any other. Sunlight streamed through the kitchen shutters in thin lines. The smell of coffee filled the air, and Mum was humming, setting the table like she always did for company. Elise arrived at 10:03 a.m., wearing a light blue blouse, simple earrings, jeans, carrying a paper bag of fresh croissants. Her smile was calm but nervous, the kind that hides tension. I sat at the table, coffee untouched. Morning, Mum said brightly, taking the bag. Hope you brought those chocolate ones again. Of course, Elise said. Your favourite? They laughed, chatted about neighbours, weekend weather, the supermarket running out of eggs again. I said little. Elise didn't either. Our eyes met twice. Mum turned to the counter once, then sat across from us again. It was time. I cleared my throat, hands clasped under the table. Elise reached out, touched my hand briefly, then pulled back. Mum didn't notice, or acted like she didn't. Mum, I started, voice quiet but steady. We need to tell you something. The room went still. Mum looked up from her coffee. Okay. I glanced at Elise, then back at Mum. Elise and I have been seeing each other. Silence. Mum didn't react at first, blinking a few times, like her brain needed a moment to process. Then her face changed, lips parting, brows knitting, confusion, disbelief, then anger. What are you talking about? She asked, eyes on Elise, not me. Elise spoke softly. We've been together a few weeks now. It wasn't planned, but it's real. Mom's voice rose. You're what? Dating my son? I care about him, Elise said. I didn't mean to hurt you. Mom stood so fast her chair scraped the floor. I let you into my home. I trusted you. You sat here nodding while I poured my heart out, and all this time you've been sleeping with my son? It didn't start that way, I said quickly.
It just happened. But this isn't a fling, Mom. It's real." She turned on me, voice sharp. "She's 10 years older than you, Nate. She's my friend. Do you see how wrong this is?" "No, I don't," I said calmly. "She's not your childhood friend. You've known her a year. You barely know her. I do. I know her better than anyone." Mom shook her head. "This is ridiculous. She's taking advantage of you." "She's not," I said. "I'm not some dumb kid. I know what I'm doing." Elise stood too. "Maybe I should go." "No," I said. "We're not hiding anymore. You wanted me to grow up, take life seriously. This is me doing that." Mom snapped. "You call this serious? Running around with a woman who could be your second mother?" I didn't answer. Neither did Elise. Mom pointed to the door. "Both of you leave. I can't even look at you right now." Elise hesitated, but I stood. "We're going, but you need to hear this." Her eyes were cold. This wasn't planned. But I love her, and she loves me. That's not disgusting or betrayal. That's just life being unexpected. "You think I care?" Mom shot back. "You think I'll sit here and cheer this nonsense? You're my son. I raised you better." I looked at her, and for the first time, I didn't feel like a kid being scolded. I felt like a man making a choice. "We're leaving," I said softly. And we did. We got into Elise's car, drove in silence, not sad, but heavy with everything that had just happened. That night, I moved into her apartment. A week later, I brought the rest of my stuff. Mom didn't call. I didn't expect her to. 4 months have passed. We still live together, still laugh over morning coffee, still text each other across the room. It's not perfect. Nothing is. But it's real. Mom hasn't reached out. I sent her a message. She read it, didn't reply. I hope she'll understand someday. But if she doesn't, I'm okay with that too. This is my life, my choice, and for the first time, it feels like mine. Elise and Nate's story shows that true courage means choosing love and authenticity, even with painful consequences. At 25, Nate drifted, criticized by his mother for lacking direction. But he found an unexpected bond with Elise, a woman a decade older who saw his true self. Their connection, sparked by a bold photo and secret texts, grew into a deep love-defying norms. When they revealed their relationship, they faced his mother's anger and betrayal. They stood firm, moving forward together. This tale teaches that love doesn't always fit society's rules, age, expectations, or approval. And that's okay. True bravery is owning your truth, even if it hurts those you love. Nate's choice to leave his mother's home and build a life with Elise wasn't just about romance. It was about claiming his right to a life truly his. In a judgmental world, their story urges us to follow our hearts, forge connections that make us feel seen, even when the path is tough. Let's honor our truths and those who see us for who we are. What did Nate and Elise's tale teach you about love and courage? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear them. If this story touched you, subscribe and join our community for more authentic, inspiring stories. Let's keep exploring life's lessons